let's be honest. When it comes to the Middle East, the word peace feels more like a break between storms. And right now, the weather's getting bad again, real bad. At the heart of the storm, two countries who can't seem to stop clashing, Israel and Iran. Now, if you've been hearing headlines about drone attacks, missile strikes, nuclear threats, and you're like, wait, weren't they already enemies? Yes, they were. But what's happening now feels different, more intense, more direct, more dangerous. So let's slow things down and talk about it. This all goes way back, like back to 1948, when Israel was officially born as a state. Most of the Arab world wasn't too thrilled, and Israel quickly found itself surrounded by enemies. But surprisingly, Iran wasn't one of them. Under the Shah's rule, Iran and Israel had a decent relationship. They traded, they shared intelligence. They weren't besties, but they definitely weren't enemies. That all changed in 1979. Iran had a revolution, the Shah was out, the Ayatollahs were in, and suddenly Iran flipped from pro-West to anti-West, and especially anti-Israel. One of the first things they did, cut all ties with Israel, closed embassies, declared them an enemy of Islam, and started backing Palestinian groups like the PLO, then later Hamas, Hezbollah, and the Islamic Jihad. It's been 4 decades of indirect war ever since. Not face-to-face on a battlefield, but through proxy militias, covert missions, cyber warfare, and assassinations. One of the biggest fears? Iran's nuclear program. Israel's been warning for years. If Iran gets nukes, we're in serious trouble. And Iran, they've had moments of transparency and a lot more moments of silence. Western powers have tried to stop their nuclear development through sanctions, negotiations, even a cyber virus called Stuxnet that messed with Iran's uranium facilities. But Iran kept pushing forward, slowly, quietly, but steadily. And then came 2023. Hamas, a group backed by Iran, launched a brutal attack on Israel. Civilians were killed, hostages were taken. The world watched in shock. Israel hit back hard with a massive military operation in Gaza. Thousands of buildings were destroyed. The death toll climbed fast. Iran, they weren't just watching, they were coordinating. They activated their allies, the Houthis in Yemen, Iraqi militias, Hezbollah in Lebanon, all of them part of what Iran calls the axis of resistance. Things were spiraling. And then came April 2024. Israel dropped bombs on a building linked to the Iranian embassy in Damascus. Inside, high-ranking Iranian military officials, 16 people killed. It was a direct hit, both literally and politically. Iran vowed revenge, and they delivered. In a coordinated strike, Iran, Hezbollah, and the Houthis launched drones and missiles toward Israel. Most were shot down, but the message was loud and clear. We're not afraid to strike back. So, what did Israel do? They launched Operation Rising Lion. Over 200 fighter jets. Targets included nuclear research centers, air defense systems, senior commanders, and weapons depots. It was one of the most complex military campaigns Israel has ever pulled off. And it hit hard, but Iran didn't back down. They fired back with ballistic missiles, some reaching Israeli cities. One even hit a major hospital, injuring dozens and causing a chemical leak. And now comes the twist. Just when people were wondering if this would finally explode into a full-scale war, the United States stepped in. At first, the US was trying to negotiate a new nuclear deal with Iran. But after all these strikes, that was off the table. Instead, the US gave Israel intel, backup missiles, and silent support. And then, quietly but clearly, America took the gloves off. US bombers dropped massive bunker-busting bombs on Iran's deepest nuclear facilities, the kind of places Israeli bombs couldn't reach. Now here we are. The Middle East is holding its breath. Israel has made it clear they're not going to let Iran get nuclear weapons, and Iran says it won't back down either. So, what happens next? Iran has a few options. They could keep using proxy groups to hit Israel from the shadows. They could escalate and strike US bases across the region. Or, worst case scenario, they could shut down the Strait of Hormuz, where 20% of the world's oil flows through. That would trigger a global economic shock. Inflation, gas shortages, and probably another war. So yeah, this isn't just Israel versus Iran anymore. This is one of those moments in history where everything feels fragile, and one wrong move could change everything.